Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome back to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL, NBA, WNBA, and MLB. And like always, guys, I appreciate you guys drop a like on the video. And if you have not subscribed to the channel as of yet, please do so down below. And don't forget to turn on those notifications. This way you do not miss any of my daily uploads. And with that being said, today is Thursday, June 7th, 2018. There's a 3-game slate going on in the WNBA tonight. We do have an early game at 4 o'clock. I apologize that I'm getting this up here kind of close to that time. I will be definitely having a lineup or two in this event, and I will definitely have a few lineups going on in the after hours, which is really not going to be for much money, but I'm still going to try to, play them. Minnesota is at Washington. We got Connecticut at New York, Seattle at LA. Before I continue on with the 3 games, obviously I always like to look at the games first and see which are the better matchups. Minnesota-Washington should be a fairly decent matchup. I think this game will stay fairly close. We will see who will win. Washington has been playing fairly well, even without Della Don. We'll see today. They have a tough matchup up front with the front court of Minnesota. Minnesota's looked very, very shabby, not looked as sharp as the reigning champions this year, so we'll see how they play today. Connecticut, New York, I think is the one game that may be a little bit, possible blowout. There is a possibility of that there. Connecticut is very, very strong, and in some statistical categories, they're much more better than New York. Seattle and LA should be another competitive games. I think the 2 games to target, in my opinion, will be Seattle, LA, and Minnesota, Washington. And depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for value in guards, my recommendation is to definitely look at the Minnesota Washington game, because I think the Washington teams, their guards, which they're right here on your screen, Tolliver, Curry, Atkins, and Cloud, are slightly a little bit better, at least right now at this very moment early on in the season. Are playing better than Augustus and Whalen and company. So whereas Minnesota's strong point is their front court, and Washington's weakness right now is in the front court. So that's why, if these girls can play fairly well, and I think they will today, perfect matchup for them. Definitely you can get value here out of this particular game, and then you can actually pay for one stud guard in that Seattle Los Angeles game. That's just my recommendation. I think you should definitely fade a little bit away from Connecticut, New York, but then again, that's my opinion, just simply because it may be a blowout. You could target New York players who come off the bench, but that's basically it. That's what I'm looking at. All right, so I just wanted to get that out of the way first. So let's take a look at Minnesota, Washington. Like I said, I really like the Washington backcourt of Tolliver and Atkins. I'm not so much on Monique today or Natasha. I think they're both fine plays. I just feel a little bit better about Tolliver today as well as Atkins. With Tolliver, you got 4,100, you need 20, and she's averaging 20, pretty much 22 right now. She's also in the league right now, tops in the top 25. She's in points and in field goal percentage, which is really nice to see. And the last time she played Washington, the last time she played Minnesota, she put up a 29 spot, so she had a good game out there. Matter of fact, we could take a look at that right now. It was early in the year. And here we go right here. 31 minutes, 19 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 2 steals, 29.2 points. And I know some of those points were from 3. So she shot pretty good from the floor. Ariel Atkins is another one that definitely you guys should consider in this matchup. Ariel is the 7th round draft pick for the Washington Mystics. And the minutes have been fairly good, 20, 29, 21, and 26. And she's been pretty consistent in the 20-plus range until the last game. She had a little bit of a dip there. But I really, really do like her a lot here. She's a nice young ball player. You got 4,000. You have to pay for her, 5 times value. You need a 20, to get to be able to cash in on her. I think she can do 20, and she actually had a 28 spot in that same game against Minnesota and played 27 minutes. So definitely like Ariel Atkins here in this particular matchup. When we go down here a little lower, Natasha Cloud is not a bad play. I mean, you need 20 from her as well. She's averaging 19. She just came back from a little bit of I think she had some sort of kidney stones or something like that. She has something going on. And she came back and played 24 minutes. Kind of balanced here on rebounds and assists. Definitely had the 3 big steals. That's why her fantasy point total was high. You know how much I really like when players tack on the stats like this. When they can rebound, assist, and block and steal, That is exactly what we're looking for in the NBA as well as the WNBA. So Augustus is not a bad play. I am just not on her. I mean, she had a 14 spot in the last game against Washington earlier in the year. 3.7, you need about 16, 17 from her. She's averaging that right now. She hasn't played that well as of late. I mean, she's getting the minutes. It's just not enough production offensively. She may have that today. I mean, she's in a decent matchup here. I just feel that Washington, the backcourt, Tolliver and Atkins, I think they're in a better spot. As you can see, they're facing the 9th ranked defense defending against guards. So that is, one of the other reasons why. But I think that's just the value play here is definitely hands down having Christy Tolliver, Atkins, or either Curry or Cloud. But they all pretty much priced the same. If I'm going to have a choice, I'm going to say to my viewers, definitely look into Tolliver and definitely look into Atkins. All right, that's where I'm at there. In the forward spot, well, I'll be like, I like Sylvia Fowles, definitely up front. This is where Minnesota is a little bit more tougher. Obviously, as you can see, you got Sylvia Fowles and Maya Moore. They're both monsters up there. Sylvia had a 33 spot the first time she played Washington in 32 minutes. That is fantastic. That's over a 1.1 fantasy point per minute, which I always stress. If we can find players that can give us that kind of fantasy production, we definitely want them on our team. She is also tops in the league in points, steals, blocks, and in field goal percentage. At 7'8" for Sylvia, you need about 38, and she's averaging 35, almost 30, pretty much 36 right now. She can get there. I mean, especially if there's no Della Don, I don't know what's going on with her. I mean, she must be really, really in bad shape for her to be out most of the season so far. She's missed about 4 or 5 games already. So we'll see what happens there. You got to keep an eye on that because you never know. Even though if she comes back, I still will be worried about playing Della Don right away. I mean, I will probably fade her and wait until she's played maybe 2 or 3 games, put 2 or 3 games under her belt from coming back from illness. I'd rather see that. She is priced too high anyway, at 8,300. I mean, hands down, I'll take Foles, who's been playing. Maya Moore, definitely in play, another one. She had a 29 spot the first time around. This is where they were strong at. She's tops in points and rebounds and field goal percentage as well. She played 35 minutes in that game. And at 6'8", you need about 34. You need about 34. Yeah, you need about 34, and she's putting up 28. So she's priced just slightly a little higher than value. But I think she can get there. She has the potential. Let's take a look at her more. Maya Moore. She has 40-plus upside. She's been here in the pink area. That means, not quite, but near value. She's been consistent, 29, 29, 27, 29. So you're getting mostly like 30 from her on a regular basis. If she could push, they're projecting her to put almost 30 again tonight. So we'll see what happens. But she is definitely in play for me tonight in this particular matchup. So Maya Moore is definitely in play. Other than that, Rebecca Brunson, we know she's a good rebounder. Other than that, I'm not on her today at 5,200. I think I can find what I need somewhere else in the other 2 games. Tiana Hawkins is a nice low value play here at 4,800. She's obviously way cheaper than Foles and Moore, talking about 2,000 less than Moore and 3,000 less than Foles. And she's going to have to play an abundance of time on this game, and she's going to have to play well. She's going to have to play well. She's in tops in the league in the top 25. She's in points, rebounds, field goal percentage, and 3-point shooting. So she is very, very a big part of this offense, and it's imperative that she plays well to try to keep Washington close here in the front court with Minnesota. Like I said before, I think the front court advantage is Minnesota. The back court is Washington. And when I give you the team stats here real quickly on some of the matchups, you're going to see why I think the Washington guards have a better chance. Other than her, that is all I like in this thing. Period. If you're not putting Foles in your lineup or more, then you're putting Tiana Hawkins. Other than that, that is it. That is it. When we look at these teams, I mean, you're going to see they're pretty kind of close to each other. Points, Washington, 82 per game. They're 6th in the league. Minnesota, 76, almost 77 points a game, 10th in the league. 44% each as far as field goal percentage. All right. Pace, pretty even also. Washington, 80.5. Minnesota, 80.1. Offensive pace, 81 for Minnesota, 78 for Washington. Defense, 79 for Minnesota, 82 for Washington. It's give or take. It's just so close to each other, so you never know. Now, this is where the difference becomes, right? Rebounding, 37 rebounds per game for Minnesota, 32 for Washington. You got 17 assists per game for Minnesota, 14 assists, which is really low for Washington. Both of them don't pass the ball that well as far as making it more of a team game. But percentage points from 2 points, 60% for Minnesota, which is third best in the league, and you got 52%, which is 10th in the league for Washington. Now that difference there is more Foles and more, because they shoot a lot of balls up close, and they have a high field goal percentage, which I mentioned before. They are tops in the league in field goal percentage. Then you got percentage points from three-point range. Minnesota is 10th, near the bottom at 20%. 20% of their points are from three. And then Washington is 30.6%. They're number one in the league, where their percentage of points come from three. And that is where you start targeting Tolliver, Atkins, Cloud, Hawkins. They're the top 4 girls that shoot the ball and shoot the ball effectively from three-point range. When you're thinking about the two-point range shot, even at 52%, that's the same girls as well as Hawkins and when Della Don is there. I mean, 52% is not too shabby, but it's 10th. It's almost near the bottom. 60% obviously is better. Third best. That's an 8% difference. So, you definitely like, so again, this is where the backcourt seems strong for Washington, and they're capable of probably lighting it up from three. Whereas Minnesota, I don't think they can handle. The guards will be able to handle them. But Minnesota's advantage is in the front court with Moore and with Foles. So if Tiana Hawkins can hang in there a little bit, as well as Hines Allen, up there in the front, LaToya Sanders, these girls are going to have to play. And if they play, this game could be a very close game. So that's my take on it, on the Minnesota-Washington game. Let's go over to Connecticut-New York. Like I said, I'm not too fond of this particular game. I mean, you're looking at the girls here. Let's go right to guard. Jasmine Thomas, I love her here, 5,700. Okay. She's definitely a fine player. 5,700, you need about 27, and she's averaging 24, very close to it. She's tops in points, assists, field goal percentage, and three-point shooting. Definitely love a little bit of Jasmine. All right, Kia Nurse, was on her in the last game, and she just bombed on me after I wasn't on her the previous game, and she kicked my butt. So she showed a little inconsistent in the last 2 games, but she is a fine player. She was the 10th overall pick. She's a rookie, and it's obvious she's an integral part of the New York offense, as you can see her being priced at $5,600. Kia Nurse is going to need 26, and she's having 26, almost 27 right now. So she's definitely in play. It's not a bad matchup here. She should be able to hang there with Jasmine. Okay. She's also right now in the league in points, assists, and steals. For a young rookie, not too bad after 5 games. So she's hanging in there with the veterans. So Kia Nurse is in play. I just love Jasmine more in this game. Okay. I mean, shooting 43% from the floor and 42% from three-point range. I mean, you got to love that. Next here in line, other than Kia Nurse, I definitely like Courtney Williams. She's also tops in points, rebounds, and assists. Field goal percentage is 45%, even better than Jasmine Thomas, and 46%, almost 4% better from 3 than Jasmine Thomas. Courtney Williams is definitely in play. You need 25 from her, and she's averaging 24.5. She's going up against the defense of New York that is not that good. Courtney Williams and Jasmine Thomas should have fine games here. I really like these 2 girls here. Zelios is not that bad of a play, 4.8. You need about 24. She's tops in points and assists in the top 25. I think she's in the bottom tier of that, but not too bad. She's averaging 19.4 right now. I still like the combination of the Connecticut girls and Williams and Thomas over Nurse and Zelios. A sneaky play here, don't sleep on Sugar Rogers. She just came back. She was one of the, players that got a lot of run last year. She was, she just came back, started playing. I think she played 15, 16 minutes. 15 minutes, put 9.4 points up. So we'll see how how many minutes they give her going into today against Connecticut, which is really a tough team, man. And Connecticut is pretty good up front and in the backcourt with Jasmine Thomas and Courtney Williams. They don't got a stud guard, but these girls are not that bad at all. They're fairly good guards. Other than that here, Bria Hartley is someone to watch out for. 4,200. You need about 21, and she's averaging 19. She's playing massive minutes. This is what I like, 30 and 33. She did pay off well in the last game against Phoenix. 18 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. 32 fantasy points, pretty much almost 1 fantasy point per minute in that particular game. The previous game played 30 minutes but did not do as much, didn't score the rock like she did in the last game. She only put up 16 and 15. But that was her best outing as of yet. Who knows? And that was more so also because New York did not play well the other day. So that's why she got a little bit more. I mean, she didn't get New York didn't play well the other day, so she got a little bit more time on the floor. But I think she's a nice little play at 4,200. I just love Courtney Williams and Jasmine Thomas are my favorite. We go to forward. Tina Charles for New York obviously is pretty much all the offense right now. She's tops in points, rebounds, and she's also in the steals category in the top 15, and she's also in the top 10 in field goal percentage. Tina Charles, you need 41 to pay that, and she's doing 39, almost 40 right now. She's in a favorable matchup here. She should be able to do okay with Alyssa Thomas and Shiny Ogumake. They need her to. 36 and 36, 37 in the last 3 games. She's been just eating up the minutes. Look at these points, 25, 23, and 34, 8, 10, and 10. Then she does a little bit of the defensive stuff. There goes where she's in the tops in steals. 2 steals here, 3 steals, 2 steals. She has 50-point upside, as you can see. She already had a 53 spot earlier, 42 and 40 in the last 2 games, respectively. Tina Charles is in charge. Charles is in charge. Tina Charles is in charge here tonight. All right, so she's definitely in play. Definitely someone you should consider. Alyssa Thomas is in play as well. She's a little bit cheaper by $400. She's putting up similar numbers. She's tops in points, assists, rebounds, blocks. She's 7th. Rebounds, she's 3rd. Field goal percentage, 57% so far this year. Not too bad. She don't take a ton of shots, but she is efficient when she takes those shots. So definitely in play. At that price, at that price, $7,800, you need about 38, and like I said, she's averaging 37, so she's priced about right. Tough matchup with Tina Charles today, but Tina, you take your pick here. You want to pay $400 more, take Tina Charles. You want to save $400, you take Alyssa Thomas. If you want to even save more, then you got Shiny Gumake, 6,700. You need 30, about 33 from her, and she's averaging 27, so she's actually a little overpriced, at least as far as fantasy points per game. But she's tops in points, rebounds, steals, blocks. She's also in the top 20 in field goal percentage, so she's having a fairly good year. Let's take a look at her here a little closer. Ogumake. She's facing the 3rd-ranked Liberty team as far as up front, and that's more so because of Tina Charles. 21 in the last game, a little downer, about three fantasy points under projection. But she got 12 points, 5 of 8, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. She had 9 rebounds. Love to see a little bit of more offensive rebounds. She only got 1 in that game. She did get in a little bit of foul trouble, but look at the green, 32, 40, 31. I mean, she has 35, 40-point upside. She is facing a tougher team up front today, but with her and with Thomas up front and Janquel Jones, I mean, something's got to give. One of these girls is going to come off. And I actually like Janquel Jones here. She's had a great history with them against New York. 23 in the last game, 23 minutes, 5, 8, 2, 3, 2. I mean, those are some beautiful stats. 29 fantasy points. She averaged more than 1 fantasy point per minute in the last game. That's why she also is one of the top fantasy points per minute plays for us today, because I will have that as well. I'm going to share with that in a moment. So Janquel Jones, 6,400. You need 32, and she's putting up 26.4. She's tops, like I said before, in points, rebounds, blocks, and in field goal percentage. Definitely like her there. And basically, that is it, other than Melissa Coleman, if you're interested in New York, she's a fairly decent rebounder at 5,400. She only got 21 minutes in the last game, but nearly almost a point a minute, fantasy point per minute. She does rebound, which is what they need mostly. And they're going to need that quite a bit today with Jonquel Jones, Ogumake, and Alyssa Thomas up front. With those girls rotating and playing, it's going to be very, very tough on Melissa Coleman. I like the matchup more of the Connecticut players. If I like anybody in New York, the one I like the most is Tina Charles in this game. But like I said, I'm not targeting that game. Let's move on. Seattle and LA. Well, matter of fact, before I go on, I said I wanted to just tell you a couple of team stats. I should try to always say this beforehand, but look how I see this game. Connecticut, 94 points per game, pretty much tops, right? New York is at 80 a game, 80 points per game. That's a 14-point difference, all right? Possessions, 79 for New York. Connecticut, 84. So they take 5 more possessions, 5 more shots, 5 more shot opportunities, at least more than New York. Pace, 78 for New York. Pace for Connecticut, 84. That's a positive 6, okay? We'll just move around. Rebounds, 40 per game for Connecticut. That's tops in the league. They're number 1. New York, 36. They're not that far off. They're 5th. So that's the rebounding. Tina Charles comes into play. All right? But the percentage points from 2, 59.6%, 4th best for Connecticut. New York is 8th best, but only 55.6. So they're only like 4% difference. Then the three-point shooting, we got Connecticut 5th at 25%. New York is 3rd at 26.1% of percentage points per game from 3. Amazing. And then we got the steals, 8.7, second best for Connecticut. New York is 5th with 7. That's a 1.7 difference. Both teams do steal the ball fairly well. Blocks, this is the disparity here. Blocks, Connecticut 4.8 per game, nearly 5 blocks a game. New York 2.8, nearly 3. So that's a 2-block difference. So what does all this means? Well, just like I said in the other game, the New York team, they're going to struggle here. Defensive pace, the one thing that's good about New York, their defensive pace. If they can slow down Connecticut and hold them to 10 or even 15 points less than what they average, that means they're going to be in the game. But I just think that when you look at all this, Connecticut is better at stealing the ball than New York. They're way better than them in blocks. They shoot fairly the same, even from percentage points from 2 as well as from 3. The rebound disparity is very little, not that far off. I think the biggest key here is for us as fantasy players is we want to target the players that give us the most fantasy points. And when you think of steals and blocks, with Connecticut having the favor, more favored in that aspect over New York, you got to look at them. You got to look at Ogumake. You got to look at Alyssa Thomas. You got to look at Jasmine Thomas because of the steals and Chini Ogumake. When you think about the blocks, you got to think of Jones. You got to think of Alyssa Thomas. These ladies are blocking the ball, and they're blocking the ball regularly, and that's the reason why. So that's what the disparity is in. Their pace is too fast. If New York cannot slow them down, Connecticut will have a field day today. That's pretty much the bottom line. All right, let's go to Seattle and LA. Seattle, LA. This should be an interesting game, all right? In the guard spot, you definitely have a choice here. You can go with Chelsea Gray or Jewel Lloyd. I think you would not at all be disappointed. I think these girls are both going to put 30-plus up here against one another. And it's just a matter of who you think may have the better game. Chelsea Gray on top at 7,700. You need about 36, 37 from her, and she's averaging 36. All right. She's tops in points, assists, steals, field goal percentage, and free throw percentage. So she's not a bad play at all. All right. We look at her a little bit closely here. Chelsea Gray. 29, 38, 30, 35, 48. All right, so she had 2 massively good games, almost a 50 spot in game 1, 35, 30. She put up almost a 40 spot, and then she put a 30 against Minnesota. Shot fairly well, nearly 50% all the way through. 6 of 11, 7 of 14, 1 of 2, 1 of 2, 50% from 3. She got to the foul line quite a bit in the Phoenix game, not so much so in the last game against Minnesota. But 6 assists, 4 total rebounds, 2 of them offensive, which I always love. She got the 1 steal. She's not someone who fouls, who gets into foul trouble. So, you know, you have a lot of advantages with her. Definitely, she's in play. Jewel Lloyd, in play as well. Had a terrible game, 19 spot in this last game. I had her in that game. She shot horribly. 5 of 17, but she is not that type of girl. She'll have once every 4 or 5 games, she'll have probably a bad game like this. But you ride the wave with her. Jewel Lloyd will be coming back today, and she's going to probably be eager to get herself going again. I expect her to have a better game. She's one of the best players in the guard position in the league, and she's actually one of my favorite guards. She's very explosive. 34% usage rate in 33 minutes. She just didn't produce. Look at the shots. 5 of 17, 1 of 8 from 3. You can't win. You cannot have your star player put up great numbers when you put up these numbers like this. You got to put up better numbers. If she shoots 45 to 50% from the floor, she's going to be fine. She'll put up an easy 40-50 spot here today. She's capable of it. Love Jewel Lloyd. Jewel Lloyd is 7,500. You need 36. She's tops in points, assists, and field goal percentage. She's averaging 35. You know, hey, take your pick. You want to save 200, go with Lloyd. You want to pay 200 more, go with Gray. I don't think you will go wrong in it with either one. Odyssey Sims is another one I like. She's tops in points, assists, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage. She's excuse me, sorry guys. She is 35, 35, 31. I mean, the minutes are there. 31 minutes plus. I mean, pretty much 28 plus. That is fantastic. 28, 25, 29, 22. Had a little downer here against Minnesota. She'll bounce back. She's a good player. 5,400, man. If you want to save $2,100, you will take Sims over Lloyd and put her in your lineup. You will not go wrong, especially with the field goal percentage and three-point shooting percentage. It's big in this game. Wait when I tell you the team stats here in a moment. Next, Sue Bird is out. Jordan, Canada, definitely someone I like in this game. 5th overall pick. I mean, she's tops in field goal percentage right now as a young rookie. You got here 4,100. You need 20 from her. She's averaging 17. And I really do like her. Where is she? There you go. 35 in the last game, like I said. That is fantastic. 29 minutes, 22% usage rates, 3 of 7 from the floor, 3 of 5 from the free throw line. She missed her 2 shots from 3, but 9 assists, which is pretty nice. 5 steals. Holy moly. If she can continue to defend like that, she's going to be all right in this league. And she definitely will help Seattle tremendously with those stats there. So Jordan, Canada in play. She's actually one of the cheaper plays here other than Ariel Atkins. She's at 4,100 with Christy Tolliver. So definitely great plays there. And out of this whole thing here, those are the only girls I like. Canada, Sims, Lloyd, and Gray. I'm going with the top dogs here. I think hands down those are the best plays here. Like I told you before, you're going to get some value in the guard spot if you go to the Minnesota-Washington game and target some of those Mystic players. I really like those girls tonight. Forward spot here, hands down, we know Breanna Stewart is no joke. You know, I mean, she's tops in points, rebounds, blocks, three-point shooting for a big girl. You know, for one of the top front court players, she could definitely shoot the rock from 3 fairly well, and she's also pretty good at field goal percentage. She's in the top 20 as well there. 8,500, you need 43, and she's averaging 43. So not too shabby. She's 50-plus upside, as we know. We'll take a look at her right now. Breanna Stewart. She's in a tough matchup today against the Spark. We know that. 52 spot there. 52 spot. In the last game, 38, 37, 42, and 46. And 28. Those are the games that she's played. So I like her. I don't think I'm going to play her today at 8,500 because of the matchup. I think the best matchup here is Foles and Tina Charles playing. You know, I think those two girls there are definitely the best play here. As you can see, they are here in the cruncher, projected with the higher fantasy points for the day. So you know, but I'm not going to tell you not to play Breanna. I think she's in a decent matchup. I think it's just a tougher matchup for her to go up against Candace Parker and Aguma K and them. All right, it's going to be interesting. Now, I'm not on Candace Parker. Not yet, at least not at that price. I think that's a little pricey. She's not even, I don't think she's even hit 35 yet in fantasy points this year. Well, she just recently did 32 in the last game. Maybe she's starting to get it going. Minnesota is definitely, you know, not, to me, at least thus far this year, is not shown to be the champions from last year. So Candace is a good player. She's definitely one of the best players in this league over the last few years. I expect her to be fully, you know, herself in another couple of games. I just still not ready to pay $8,000 for her. I want to see those numbers get in that 40 range. But Agumake here, I definitely love. Tops in points, rebounds, assists, steals, field goal percentage, three-point shooting, and free throw shooting. 7.9K, you need about 39, almost 40. She's averaging 36. And I think here in this matchup with Natasha Howard and Breanna Stewart, knowing that she's got Candace Parker with her, I think she's in a good spot. I think she's in a good spot. I think she's going to ball. I really, really like her here. So she's definitely in play at 7,900. We move on. Natasha Howard, tops in rebounds and blocks. She's in play. She's going to need to play hard here. 6.63. You need 31, and she's averaging 28.9. Almost 29. So it's very close to value. I think she's priced about right. 31 minutes in the last game, 38 fantasy points. I mean, she had a massive game against Dallas. This game here, they got blown out by Las Vegas, so they had no need to, you know, put her on the court. And I said that in the last video. She was well rested. She was going to come out and ball, and look, she did exactly that. You could go back to the last video. You're going to see that I indicated that I was on Natasha Howard because I felt that she was gonna have a massive game simply because she had plenty of time to rest with 3 days off, and on top of that, she only played 13 minutes in this game. In the blowout, they sat her. She went out and she was ready to gun away, and she had a massive game. Okay, massive game, her best game of the season, second best game of the season. 49 spot here and a 32 spot here, 38. Natasha Howard is in play here, guys. She definitely is in play. All right. Other than that, that is it. I'm not going to BS anybody. I'm not going to tell you let's go and get value here. I told you already which are the value plays. What I will tell you is when we go into this game as far as matchups, Seattle, second in the league in scoring at 91, pretty much 92 points a game. The Spark, 83. Okay, that's a difference of almost 8 points, man. So Seattle definitely. The pace is crazy. Pace 79. Pace 79, yes, for the Spark. 80 for Seattle. They're pretty close on pace. Possessions, 82 for Seattle. 79 possessions a game for the Spark. Pretty close there as well. Okay, when we go over to rebounding, 33 rebounds per game for Seattle. 26, which is dead last for the Spark. Okay, so the rebounding has to get better there. This is where you start looking at statistics and you start realizing whom you can target. So if you're targeting here in Seattle, you definitely got to target Stewart and Howard as top rebounders there. They're in the top 15 in the league over the Spark rebounders. All right. Then when you look here a little further, you go to assists. Seattle is second in the league in assists with 20 a game. The Spark, 14 a game. That's a 6 assist difference. So then you start looking, you start thinking, well, now you're thinking Canada, you're thinking Lloyd, okay? You're thinking Stewart. These are the girls that usually dish the ball, get the team involved. Then we go on and we go to the percentage points from 2-point range. 50% for Seattle, 62% for the Spark. So we know that their inside game has got to be big because the 3-point shooting, percentage points from 3-point for the Spark, 19%, which is near the bottom, 11th in the league. And check this, Seattle, second in the league, 30%. That is an 11% difference, folks. Okay, so now you're starting to say, hey, you know what? Now I got to target Lloyd. I got to target Stewart. I got to target Canada because they not only could put the ball in play from any range on the floor, but they can shoot the 3-point range shot and shoot it with a good percentage rate. So these are just, again, this is some of the things that I look at other than fantasy points per minute. I look at statistics like this on where the teams stand. I look at pace. I look at where they're points are coming from. And you have to look at blocks and steals as well and rebounds to see more or less who defends and rebounds the best and who gets their team involved with the assists. So when you go on further here, we go to blocks. 6th in the league for Seattle at 4.3 blocks per game. So you know that's you're targeting Stewart and Howard there because they're in the top 15, 20 in blocks. And then you look at the Spark, they're 10th in the league, only 2.5 blocks a game. That's a difference of almost 2 full blocks a game by Seattle. So again, you start saying to yourself, hey, you know what? I'm going to target. So when it all comes to, when it's all said and done, you're looking at Breanna Stewart, Natasha Howard, either one of the two for rebounding and blocking in this particular matchup. And then what you do is you analyze every one of these statistics that I just brought down, that I gave you guys. And you break them down and you start making your lineups according to what you think is the best possible play. I'm going to always try to give you the best statistical information I can give you so that you don't have to do that research. Basically, you only have to do is listen to my videos, get that information. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help those. I love sports. I love sharing what I know. I love sharing how I make my decisions on plays over the years, because I've been playing fantasy sports with Yahoo Sports and all this crap for many years, just with friends and family. I never, it wasn't until Fanduel and DraftKings came out with this fantasy sports that we can play every single day, that we can change our lineups. I was like, whoa, I got to get into that. So I've only been at this about 3 years online as far as Fanduel and DraftKings. But I'm here to help. This is what DFS Zone is for. It's for you guys to come in there. Don't have the time. You got a busy day. I got 2 or 3 hours in the day, and then even the evenings where I can do research, and I take it serious, and I look and I do what I can to help out those who are willing to listen to my videos. So take advantage, listen to the videos, always look back every day. As we go further and further, you're going to start getting more and more information from me, and by the time you know it, because we're still young in the season, so when we get to like the 10th, 11th game, you really know more or less what are the rotations, how many minutes people are really playing, and more or less the statistics get better. They start leveling off a little bit, and you start really seeing whom you can target a little bit more in certain matchups. But that's what it comes down to. Fantasy points per minute, I'm big on that, so I always check that. Now, very quickly, I'm going to share that right now. My fantasy points per minute plays for today, plain and simple. Guard, Lloyd, 0.93, almost 1 fantasy point per minute, so you definitely got to consider her. Kia Nurse, same number, 0.93. Ariel Atkins, 0.90. Jasmine Thomas, 0.89. Jordan Canada, 0.86. Chelsea Gray, 0.84. Courtney Williams, 0.83. Odyssey Sims, 0.79. And Christy Tolliver, 0.70 are my top guard fantasy point per minute plays. You put that together with the information I gave you now, and you make your best judgment on your lineups. I'm not going to come and tell you, hey, play this girl for sure, play that girl for sure, because anything is possible any given night in any kind of sport. We're not going to win every single night. We want to just be consistent. We want to be a consistent winner, even if it's just $10, $20. Then that 10, $20 becomes 40. Then that 40 becomes 100. Then that 100 becomes 200. And then by the time you know it, you're a consistent winner, and you're winning $200, $300, $400, $500 a week or more. And then, of course, you have to have good bankroll management. Don't bet your whole entire bankroll on one night, because if you don't hit anything, you're going to lose everything. All right, so that's important too. Best fantasy point per minute plays in the forward center spot. You got Jonquel Jones, the best one overall tonight. 1.25 fantasy points per minute thus far. So she is, she could possibly have a nice game today. If you can get 1.2 fantasy points from her today, that'll be awesome. Sylvia Foles, 1.21. Breanna Stewart, 1.18. Nneka Ogwumike, 1.12. Tina Charles, 1.11. Chini Ogwumike, 1.10. Alyssa Thomas, 1.06. Maya Moore, just under 1 point at 0.99. And Natasha Howard at 0.94 are my favorite fantasy point per minute plays for tonight. All right. So that's pretty much it, guys. So let me just recap. Target the game. I think here my advice is go after the guards. I think they're fine plays at only 4,000. I love Atkins and Tolliver, but of course Augustus, Whalen are not you know, they are decent plays as well. I just think that Atkins and Tolliver are going to have the better games and they have the better matchup. When you go and target this game for forwards, I think the forward, obviously the advantage is with Minnesota, with Foles and Maya Moore and Rebecca Brunson. I mean, you're going to get a lot of rebounding there. You're going to get some blocks. You're going to get some girls that shoot very effectively from the floor. Their field goal percentage is pretty good, pretty high, at 40 plus for every one of them. The best play here for Washington would be Tiana Hawkins. And you can always, you know, take a flyer on Hines Allen or LaToya Sanders, but I am all in favor of Tiana Hawkins here in this play. Connecticut, New York, guards. Jasmine Thomas and Courtney Williams are my favorite two, but you cannot sleep on Kia Nurse or Zelios. And I kind of like a little value play here in Bria Hartley at 4,200. We go to the forward spot. Tina Charles definitely is in charge. Alyssa Thomas is in play. Chani Ogumake is in play, and Janquel Jones. I like Janquel Jones. She's had good history with New York, especially last year. She had some good games. And I like Alyssa Thomas. Third option will probably be Ogumake, but it all depends on what you want to spend. If you want to spend 64, you want to save 300, you go with Jones. Marissa Coleman is in play. Obviously, you need her for rebounding. So if you're looking for a rebounding play at 5,400, you definitely need her to put 17 or better up. You need about 22 for that spot there. You know, not 22, excuse me. You need about 27 there. So it's pretty hefty, and she's only averaging 17. So I would fade her. Maybe even a lower, better play would be Rebecca Allen at 3,500. You go to Seattle, L.A., Chelsea Gray and Jewel Lloyd are definitely in play. I like Sims here at 5,400. I wouldn't mind taking the savings and taking her. And definitely love Canada here at 4,100 for Seattle. Other than that, I'm not on anybody else. At the forward spot, Brianna Stewart is in play, but it's a tough matchup with Candace Parker and Nneka. Definitely like Howard here. I think she's going to probably have a good game here. I will probably fade from Stewart because of the price and the matchup. And I will probably go with Ogumake and maybe even Natasha Howard in this game if I'm going to target big men from this game. All right. You can go with Candace Parker, but she hasn't hit 40 yet. I don't want to pay 8,000 for her just yet. All right, guys. So definitely, you know, look at all that. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. All right, so good luck tonight. Like the video, man. Please share the video with others. I appreciate that. Again, I do this to help others. This information is here. I know the videos are kind of long, but I'd rather give as much information as possible to let you have what you need to make the proper decision for your lineups. This way you don't have to buy software, you don't have to do all the research, go on WNBA and everywhere else that you can find information to get an idea of what plays to make, what the matchups are, whatever. I'm here for that. Take advantage of it. Please subscribe down below so you can get that information every single day. I am going to be doing WNBA videos throughout the whole year in the summer. And like I said, very soon I'll be doing some portions of MLB as well. So you'll be getting maybe 1 or 2 videos a day on a regular basis soon. The NBA Finals is almost over. Cleveland is on the brink of being eliminated. So I will give that 1 or 2 games more. Wouldn't be surprised if it's over in the next game, and then I'll be fully, you know, just in full effect with just WNBA and MLB. All right, guys. So again, drop a like. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. Share the video. Comment down anything down below if you want to get some advice, any information. You can always hit me up on Twitter as well, or you can go to my Instagram as well. All right, guys. God bless. Good luck tonight, and your boy Manny is out.